The film begins with a touching scene. A father named Maverick is explaining something to his children, Star and Seven. He explained about the way black people survive in America. They were taught how to behave if one day they were questioned for no reason by the police. Even so, Mauve tells them not to forget that being black is an honor. They just have to understand their rights and take care of their dignity. Star is 9 years old and Seven is 10 years old, but they have been told their fate as black people. Long story short, Star grew up. This family grew into a happy family. They live in an area called Garden Heights, an environment filled with the black people. Mauve makes money by opening a mini market. Previously, he was a drug dealer, but now, he has a tone. Star and Seven used to attend Garden Heights High School, but because the school there was so bad, Lisa, their mother, transferred them to an elite school in the Williamson area. Attending this school makes Star unable to be herself. Here, she had to give up the habits of black people, starting from how to talk, how to get along, even how to avoid confrontation. Here, she has best friends, Haley and Maya. They always defended her if a white student bothered her. She has a boyfriend. They have been together for 6 months. This boy's name is Chris. That guy is the best thing she has in this school. But still, many wealthy white students looked on cynically, and probably wondering why Chris would ask her, a black girl, to be his girlfriend. During the weekend, she went out with her friends, Kenya, at a party. Kenya is Seven's sister, or she is the daughter of Mauve's ex-wife. Even so, they remained friends. While at the party, Star notices Khalil's presence. He is her childhood friend. Even Khalil's grandmother used to be her babysitter when she was kid. Since they had not seen each other for a long time, they asked each other about how they were doing. While they were chatting, there were people fighting at the party. So, a gunshot was heard and caused everyone to come out. The party was over. Khalil immediately asked Star to go in his car. In the car, they talked to each other. He used to be a poor boy, until one day, his grandmother was unilaterally fired from the hospital. His grandmother had cancer. So, he had to change his profession to become a drug dealer. This made Star feel concerned. There, Khalil also shared his life principles which were inspired by Tupac, a rapper who often inspires black people through his song lyrics, that the hatred they received when they were little would turn into rebellion when they grew up. While on the way, they were suddenly stopped by police officers. Mauve had taught Star since she was a child about the way of life as a black person. She immediately put her hand on the dashboard of the car, so the officer could see her hand. But Khalil was a little stubborn. He didn't want to do it. Until finally, Star forced him not to show his driver's license, because she felt that they had done nothing wrong. This officer finally told Khalil to get out of the car. Star had wanted to record this incident, but she was afraid. When this officer checked the driver's license, Star immediately looked for her cell phone that fell, and ruffled Khalil's car. Seeing Khalil looking relaxed, she reminded him to keep doing what the officers told him to do. Khalil then took the comb from inside the car, and this officer shot him instead.
Stop right there! Stop! No! What did you do, white man?
Star was shocked. It turned out that there were no weapons other than a comb. She felt hysterical, because Khalil died on the spot, because he was hit by several shots from officers. After the incident, she accompanied Lisa and Mauve to the police station. She was questioned by Detective Gomez and Detective Willie. This detective should be asking the chronology, but they often ask about who Khalil really is. What did Khalil do? Is Khalil a user or not? And etc. However, there is no question about the police who killed Khalil. Carlos, Star's uncle, immediately told them to stop the interrogation. Carlos also became one of the police officers. This incident traumatized Star, because she saw her friend killed. Luckily, there is Mauve who always accompanies his daughter. When they all went to Khalil's grandmother's house, all eyes were on Star. Khalil's grandmother was deeply saddened by Khalil's passing. At that time, Carlos and his wife came to Khalil's grandmother's house. He conveyed his condolences to his grandmother Khalil. At the same time, Chris contacted Star about their date, but Star couldn't tell what really happened. She said that she couldn't come without explaining any reason to Chris. When outside, Mauve asks what happened to the police who killed Khalil. They were surprised that Carlos said he only got paid leave. Of course, there will be a full investigation into the case, and that will be done by the district attorney. Mauve can already guess where this case is going. Surely the chances of justice for Khalil are so small. Carlos says if Mauve can't trust the system, at least he can trust him. While at school, Star was down. Will she be considered a tyrannical black girl if she tells that her black friend was killed by the police? She chose to remain silent and behaved as usual in this school. Even when Haley asked, she still chose to silent, because she didn't know what her friend's responses. One afternoon, Star and Kenya went to a cafe. While ordering food, they watch a news broadcast about Khalil's death and the fact that he was killed by a cop. The news has spread in the community, and on the news, Khalil's mother demanded justice for her son. Kenya regrets why the media presents Khalil's mother like that. Maybe because she was black. After that, Kenya asks Star if she's going to tell everyone the truth. But Star was still thinking about it. Besides, her parents forbade her to tell everyone. At the same time, Kenya's father, King, came to them. He told them to get in the car. He was a big drug dealer in the area. Mauve used to be part of his members. In the car, King tells Star that he knows what happened to Khalil. He said that seeing the incident was very hard, but it will be harder to forget it. He told Star to continue her life. After dropping off Star, Mauve talks to his old friend, King. He talked about their current life. Then King suggests to Mauve that Star shouldn't tell the police that Khalil works for him, because Star would be in trouble. Before leaving, he told Star to forget about the incident. At home, Lisa, who is listening to Mauve's story, catches that King is about to threaten Star. Implicitly, King would hurt their daughter if Star told the police about Khalil's work. Then she asked Mauve to move for the good of their family. But according to Mauve, King won't bother them. Like when he decided to quit from the drugs world. It was a funeral day for Khalil. While Star was getting ready, Mauve came to her. Star tells of Khalil's outlook on life. That whites will always view the blacks with hatred. That the law was made against them. Black people. Mauve says why so many black people are drug dealers. Because they need money. But unknowingly, black people fall into a vicious circle. Becoming a dealer looks like a solution to get out of poverty. But drugs also destroy the black generation. He didn't want to repeat his mistake. He wants to be a good model to his children. While at church, Star couldn't help but cry when she saw Khalil's body lying in the coffin. Everyone was present at the mass, including King and his family. At that time, the priest invited someone who wanted to say something. A woman named April came to the stage. She is a lawyer from Jazz for Justice. She said that the police had no intention of properly punishing the officer who shot Khalil. Although there are credible witnesses, she invited everyone to take a peaceful demonstration to the police station after the mass was over. Her words sent energy to the congregation who were present to fight for justice. Before returning to her seat, she looked at Star. It was as if she had invited Star along too. When it was over, there was already a group of people getting ready to protest at the police station for justice for Khalil. Worried that this peaceful demonstration will end in chaos, Mauve invites all his family members to go home. It invites disappointment for other friends, because they should have joined too. In accordance with Mauve's prediction, when the news showed the protest on TV, the peaceful demonstration turned violent. Resistance against the police, until it is unavoidable. The news also caught Chris's attention to find out what had happened. He immediately called Star to ask if she and the other family were safe or not. At the same time, their house's guests. Turns out it was April. She had come there to talk to Star. April explained that Star's confession would strengthen the charges against Bryant, the officer who shot Khalil, so that he got what he deserved. That's why Star had to appear all over the place. On TV, social media, or at the streets. Mauve agrees, but not for Lisa. She didn't want Star's confession to harm her daughter. Hearing that, April couldn't say anything. Before she left, Star recounted her bitter experiences. That when she was a child, her best friend, Natasha, was shot dead by someone, one of the members of King. Maybe they're blocking the way. The shot killed Natasha. In fact, she knew the culprit, but at that time, she chose to remain silent. Right now, she had to be faced with the same condition, and she was at a loss as to what to do. Listening to the story, April then said that Star could call her at any time if she changes her mind. When she was at school, she was shocked because the school was closed. She was getting more and more shocked when she heard that the students were going out to protest the justice for Khalil. But what she saw was not a concern. It's just an excuse for students to skip school, not to take math exams, or just for fun outside. It made her feel sick. Then she called Carlos to pick her up at school. Then Carlos drove her to the hospital, where her mother works. She told her mother that she would speak for Khalil. So that night, they went to the TV station, accompanied by April. She was interviewed in a segment. She spoke with a blurred face. However, when interviewed, she was too led to tell who Khalil really was, instead of asking about her confession. So, she said that Khalil was forced to become a dealer under a man named King, in the Garden Heights area. This was watched by King and his family at home. But after that, Star bravely interrupted by veering the conversation towards the shooting incident. After that, the family went out to have dinner. While they were chatting, Star saw King waiting for them outside. Mauve jumped into action. He then came out and directly confronted King. But before they fight, King and his members choose to leave because the police are coming. Only Mauve was there alone. The police immediately accused Mauve of dealing drugs. Then the police searched him, but the police found nothing from him. Even though Lisa gave Mauve's ID to the police still wouldn't let him go. So, there was resistance given by his family. Star also took out her cell phone to record. So, did everyone in the restaurant.
Inside. I know you heard that part. Put that down. Now, I have a right to record to see y'all, and all these cameras do too. Go on, sorry everybody, how y'all really treat us.
Then the police release Mauve and they decide to go straight home. When she got home, Star said S was sorry. She should have kept quiet, and she doesn't need to be on TV. Mauve tells all his children to line up in the yard. He again asked about their rights as black people, lessons that Seven and Star learned from childhood.
Point 7 of the 10-point program said, we want immediate acts of police brutality. By what means? Not any. By what means? By any means. That's what means. By any means necessary. So why are you gonna be quiet?
Mauve says if Star is ready to talk, then talk, and don't let other people silence you, says Mauve. When Star was playing at Maya's house with Haley, they watch Asian TV program, and there was the news about Bryant. There the narrative sounds to Bryant's side. It is said that the issue of black people where Bryant was assigned was notorious, with violence, murder, and drugs. Bryant's parents even said that his son was a good person. He's just doing his job. Haley, who heard the news, expressed her concern for Bryant. Those words left Star at a loss. Why did Haley say that and defended Bryant over Khalil, the one he defended at his protest yesterday at school? What's more, Ali has stopped following Star's social media because Star started posting injustices against black people. They argued, and from that day their friendship became strained. Another day, one afternoon, Star told her mother, why did she and Haley fight? Whereas during high school, Haley was one of her best friends besides Maya. Her mother taught her not to think too much about it. She told Star to forgive her friend and carry on with life as usual. If the plus side is bigger, compared to worse after being friends with Haley. But if not, then just let it go, said Lisa. One night at prom night, Chris asked Star about her TV interview. He said he knew the obscured figure was Star. Chris simply asked if Star knew Khalil. He wanted to empathize with what Star was going through. But in fact Star's experience had to watch two of her little friends die in front of her, beyond what Chris could have imagined. She also said that was the reason. Why did their mother send her and Seven to Williamson? Because to protect their children. She also said that she had to be two versions of herself. At home, she can't be a Williamson kid, and when she's at Williamson she can't be a Garden Heights kid. That night, Chris bravely drove Star and Seven home to meet Star's parents. Funnily enough, when it arrived, he is even considered a driver by Mauve. But it's different with Lisa. He turned out to already know Chris and he welcomed him well. Mauve still can't accept it, so that makes Chris feel uncomfortable and prefer to go home. Mauve is actually mad that he's the only one who doesn't know that Star has a white boyfriend. But in the end Star was able to explain it to Mauve. Suddenly they are startled by gunfire that goes into their house. It was King's men, who is still terrorizing Star because of the interview on TV yesterday, because they feel insecure. So, they decided to flee to Carla's house. All the members are in, but Mauve wants to go back to the house, because he wanted to make calculations with King. Likewise, with Seven who went with Mauve. They both then waited at home. They were on standby when King returned, because Mauve has to protect his family. In the morning, at breakfast, Carlos spoke to Star. According to Carlos, for some people, this case is not considered a crime. But maybe the raid ended badly. The vigilance of officers stopping drivers on the side of the road is not to blame. If the driver is disobedient and keeps the door or window open, they might reach for a gun, and officers will not hesitate to shoot. But Carlos' answer left Star disappointed, because such operational standards only apply to black people.
And it was a white man driving a Mercedes. Would you shoot him? Or would you say put your hands up? Say put your hands up.
The trial day begins. Star will testify before a jury. Predictably, the majority of the jurors were white. She went through the trial calmly. She explained all her testimonies well. Another day, at school, Haley came to Star. She still didn't realize that she had been being racist all along. She thought Star was different because she was never threatening. Unlike Khalil, the drug dealer. Hearing this, Star immediately took a comb from Haley's bag and asked if this looked like a weapon. Haley replied, it looked like a gun in Khalil's hand. Hearing this, Star was furious.
Does it look like a weapon if you're on the ground? No, don't move. That's what it's like.
Chris came over and tried to calm an upset Star. At the same time, Star gets a message from Kenya that Seven was beaten by King. She along with Chris ventured into King's house to pick up Seven. Luckily, King wasn't home. King's wife were at home then tried to protect them. She told them to leave quickly before King returns. When they are on the road, there have been many protests demanding justice for Khalil. They protested at the city hall, casting time because the jury's verdict said Bryant was innocent, and there will be no further trial because Bryant escaped punishment. Star decided to get in on the action. She told Chris to take Kenya and her brother to a safe place. Meanwhile, she will join the demonstrators. Before reaching City Hall, they have been intercepted by the police with full weapons.
Hands up! Hands up!
Look at how things are getting hotter. She decided to speak in front of them all. She said she was the key witness. She encouraged the demonstrators that their actions were right, for justice. But no matter how loud they scream, no matter what they are trying to fight for, the police still refuse to listen. People who are only armed with enthusiasm will certainly be afraid of the fully armed police. The crowd easily dispersed when tear gas was fired. The community was pushed back. Star had to take the seriously injured Seven. With the help of his friend Mauve, they go to Mauve's shop to search for milk in order to eliminate the effects of tear gas burning their eyes. They were then left there, while the herd is calling for Mauve to come to the shop. King, who from afar saw Star's presence, immediately took the opportunity. He orders his men to burn Mauve's shop so that Star can be killed there. Luckily, there were neighbors who saw and immediately tried to help those who were trapped inside. Mauve, Carlos and Lisa finally got there and rushed them out the back door. Seeing the situation, King immediately intends to beat up Mauve, but an unexpected situation occurred. Mauve loses his gun, which turns out to be held by Sakani, Star's younger brother that pointed a gun at King to defend his father.
I might die alone!
Star immediately moved quickly. She didn't want the police to shoot her brother. She made everyone aware that how long something like this had to keep repeating itself. The cycle must be broken at this point.
How many of us die before y'all get it?
After the incident, Mauve plans to rebuild his damaged shop. Meanwhile, King is arrested for starting a fire at Mauve's shop. The police were finally able to arrest King, thanks to contributions from the local community. Garden Heights has been a safe neighborhood since King's arrest. Seven successfully finished school and got ready to go to college.